Hello, Louis-Pierre Gignac, President and CEO of GMIN Ventures. We're developing the Tocantinzinho project in Brazil, and now we're fully financed as of last week.
You are $481 million worth of finance. Well done, congratulations, and
yes.
Especially in these markets.
Yes, correct. Big endeavor in this current market to pull this off, and we're quite happy with the package that we put together.
Yeah, well, tell me about that, because I think that there was a little nervousness in the market as to what it would cost you. Would your stock be affected? But it doesn't seem to have been. I mean, do you consider this good value money? Was it expensive money? How are you viewing it?
Yeah, look, we were really looking to, minimize dilution through this exercise in financing. So obviously, we're very concerned with the cost of capital that we would incur with this financing package as well. And I think we're very happy with the outcome of this, with a stream financing and a term loan from Franco-Nevada that provides us with a relatively low cost of capital.
Right, and there's some equity in there from La Mancha too. But so just I want to stick with the money for now. Given the feasibility study numbers, they're recent, but there've been changes in the market. Were you kind of nervous about the ability to kind of stick to the budget which you've laid out? In which case, were you going to ever tempted to ask for just a little bit more from like Franco and La Mancha?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Through this financing package, we did want to create a good buffer in there as well. So, we do essentially have a $40 million cash buffer. To account for any variations that may occur, but also to provide the financing parties with that additional comfort that we will have sufficient capital to get through the full construction period.
Yeah, I know you typically would factor in a contingency, but some companies we're talking to at that moment are having contingencies on their contingency. Because things like fuel, really kind of gone raging through the market at the moment, and the ability to actually secure the equipment that they need on time, and time is money and all of that. So did you have to relook at it, or was it just a case of feeling confident in yourselves?
Yeah, I think one thing is that the feasibility study that we issued in February was very fresh. We had a lot of quotes coming into that really reflected the inflationary environment that we're in. And since the last several months, with the cash position that we've made a lot of commitments towards purchasing mining equipment, processing equipment, infrastructure buildings. And, so far we've spent $20 million on the project, with another $70 million of commitments in terms of expenditures toward the project. And so far everything is fitting very much in line with our feasibility study budget. So, as it stands now, we're quite comfortable with the estimate that we put together, and don't expect large variations to it.
Right, and that's in terms of cost, but what about in terms of timing? Because we talked about the difficulty of getting stuff into Brazil when we spoke last.
Yeah, correct. And the mining equipment was procured several months ago. Actually, we have our first shovel in country as we speak. We'll have 4 mining trucks delivered in a few weeks' time as well. So we were very strategic in placing those orders well in advance, in anticipating these long lead times that we've seen in the market. In terms of the grinding circuit, which is typically a long lead item, we've also made the procurement for that. So yeah, we're strategically placing those orders to fit with the construction schedule that we put together in our study.
Right, and you kind of conscious of the fact that there's lots of companies kind of slowing down the process that you've just been through, because they don't want to announce the market in the feasibility studies that perhaps the cost of making these marginal projects. Are you confident around the margins that you're also suggesting, not just in terms of the cost of equipment, but at the other end, the net number that coming out the other side? I mean, what are you seeing sort of changing there?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, fuel is one item that's gone up since our feasibility study. And that's really due to the price of fuel going up right after we published our study with the war breaking out and having the influence it has had on the fuel price. But, as you know, in terms of OPEX and down the road, we don't see ourselves being that sensitive to fuel pricing, given that we're connecting this operation to the grid. So yeah, we see ourselves coming out the end of this project very much in line with our feasibility study budget. And the other factor that's playing in our favor as we speak now is the exchange rate. So we do expect to have 60% of our expenditures on the project in local currency. And as we've been seeing in the last, couple of months, the real has been weakening compared to the dollar. So that's going to help us offset some costs as well.
But does that concern you slightly? Because we talk about exchange rate and currency rates, working against you or for you. But what's actually happening in country in terms of Brazil? Is it still going to be a good place for miners to operate? Are you feeling sort of confident about what's happening there, whether it be politically or economically?
Oh yeah, I definitely think that Brazil is one of the better jurisdictions in South America for investing and especially in mining. We see many operations announcing construction decisions in Brazil as well. So you can tell that the environment for investing into Brazil is quite favorable. So we obviously feel the same, and in the state of Pará as well, we know that that's a very supportive mining jurisdiction as well.
Okay, and I guess the other bit that kind of interests me here is like you've gone raised the money. Your share price doesn't seem to have been affected greatly by the markets, quite frankly, which is unusual right now. Possibly helped by the fact that you're so close to a construction decision. Firstly, can you just talk to me about the kind of construction decision timing or any outstanding matters that may kind of stop you advancing?
Well, I'd say in terms of our share price, I think that's attributable to the fact that we have very large shareholders with a long-term perspective, and they understand what the game plan is here of building this mine, getting it operating, and unlocking value through that process. So definitely they're there to see us go through that phase. And in terms of next steps for us, we made a request to have our LI, which are construction permits, extended for 2 years to match with our construction schedule. So we expect to get those in maybe as soon as next month. So that'll be the next piece for us to really issue a full construction decision at that point and kick it off.
Right. Okay. And that's the only outstanding license or permit that you're waiting for, yeah?
Yeah, correct. I mean, there's several LIs, but the bills would come in as we need, and our idea is once we get the initial ones that we require, we'll have sufficient comfort to make that decision to start constructing the project. Okay,
so you've given us a sort of sense of the timing of this thing, and obviously it's a big project as well, so we'll be throwing off a lot of capital. But I guess you've got a couple of options here: is get your head down, focus on delivering this, right, which people expect you to do, on time, on budget, and all of that. But you can't help but look around and go, "Wow, there's some deals out there."
Yeah,
there are some deals out there. There's some very undervalued, cash-constrained companies who perhaps don't have the access that you do. Are you tempted to, for even some of your time or some of your personnel to go and look at things like that?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. We won't be sitting around for 2 years just building this project. Very soon, and through that period, we will be looking for the next projects to bring into the company. We want to start building that pipeline and building. Preparing the next project for construction once we get TZ up and running. And, I think that's one of the reasons why La Mancha came into GMIN Ventures. They're very much aligned with that strategy of growing the company, like they've done through their other investments in Endeavor and Evolution, where they were early entrants into these companies and grew these, helped grow those companies over the years from tripling or quadrupling in size. Over their investment horizon. So, we're very much aligned with them in that respect. So definitely we'll be looking at other opportunities in the near future.
Okay, but I just want to narrow this down because, at some point, obviously you don't want to sit around for the next 2 years just focused on, the build. Obviously that's important, it's critical.
Yeah.
But La Mancha's other factor that they're going to be looking at is that the price that they pay in the short term, in the here and right now. That's where the stress is. This may sort of clear itself out by, I don't know, middle of next year, in which case the deals won't be there. So are you ready to move quickly?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a question of how we can structure such deals that we see in the market. Obviously, we do feel that, like you pointed out, our share price hasn't come down versus other peers, but we definitely feel that we're still undervalued with respect to this project and company. So we will be conscious of how we try and structure deals going forward. But yeah, we will be looking at opportunities in the coming months for sure.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I appreciate you feel undervalued. Everyone feels undervalued. Don't take it personally.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's undervalued, but it's a case of, what can you do with your money now? And obviously buying cheap is good. So just in terms of the mentality, I know you're surrounded by a few small players that perhaps are, would love the access to cash that you'd be able to bring to them, but that is a certain type of deal. Would you think Brazil is one of the better jurisdictions in South America, and we've seen what's happening in the rest of South America at the moment. Are you talking about South American type projects? Are you talking about heading back up to Canada? I mean, what's your favorite option?
Yeah, I'd say for us, the best fit and where we feel there's the best opportunities is in South America. I think North America, we feel is a bit overvalued compared to what we can see in terms of projects in South America. So that's definitely where we will be looking. In Brazil, yes, I think there's several other projects out in Brazil that would meet our criteria in terms of size and quality of resource and potential. So not putting names on things, but definitely Brazil is definitely a place that we're looking at other projects right now.
Okay, interesting. And can you just in terms of things that we could be looking forward to this year, and obviously on the construction side and the LI, etc. That's I think well understood. And I guess you can't talk too much about M&A because you don't want to give the game away, but you've laid out your intent there. Is there anything else that we should be looking at in terms of what's you're focused on, what the board sort of directed you to focus on?
Definitely, we do have a large land package that's unexplored. So we do, we are doing some exploration now, and we will be continuing to do some groundwork on our property that's, largely unexplored, about 5% drill tested at this point. So definitely we see upside with the land package that we have. So we'll be continuing to put effort into generating drill targets and doing some exploration even through the construction phase as well.
And what's the capital available for that? Because presumably the recent package is all about the construction of Tocantinzinho. So how much budget would you allocate to this kind of blue sky exploration component?
Yeah, we have about 2 million allocated, and with the cash buffer that we have, we'll be able to approve additional budgets in the coming years to do additional exploration on top of what we already have approved.
Right.
So obviously that'll be something that we'll manage as we go forward with the cash buffer that we have.
How much is the cash buffer? How much have you got available?
40 million is the cash buffer that we have.
But that's the cash buffer on the TZ project, right? Or is it
Correct.
A separate 40 million? Right. Okay.
Well, it's essentially for GMIN Ventures as a whole.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So no restrictions on that. Well, if there are, what are they?
Obviously, the Franco-Nevada financing is project related. So that funding is really going into the project. And we do consider exploration to be a discretionary expense that's not completely project related. So that will be within our discretion for the equity that we've raised to spend some of that towards exploration. And so when I do refer to the 43 million cash buffer that we have, that's really at the corporate level.
Got it. Okay, fine. Well, look, exciting times. Well done on the raise. I mean, it was really just to catch up with you and sort of see, how you view that, and more importantly, what you're going to do with it, and give a sense of timing. So the ambition is still there. Thanks for catching up with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.